Okay, first we have to discuss Huygens wave theory. So for that, consider an isolated source. From this isolated source, the light will be propagated, and this is also called as your primary source. The light will be propagated from this primary source along all the directions like this. Now we are going to consider a imaginary circle over this primary source like this. So for the 2D, this is a circle, and for 3D, you just imagine this is a sphere. On each and every point of this circle, or in case of 3D sphere, at each and every point phase is same. That means suppose light is traveling along this direction. Here what will be the phase? Here the phase will be same. Here the phase will be same. That also you can say the phase difference between the 2 points will be 0. So here this is the imaginary circle we have been considered around the primary source, which is called as your primary wave front. Okay. According to Huygens wave theory, the primary wave front again divided into large number of secondary sources. Or you can say, according to Huygens wave theory, each and every point of this primary wave front is to be considered as the secondary sources. This is our primary sources, but each and every points on this primary wave front will be considered as the secondary sources. So these are our secondary sources. These are the secondary sources. So consider any one of the secondary source. From this source also the wave will be travel, or the light will be travel in all the ways, in all the directions. So this small circle will be called as the primary wave front for this source. Okay, but this wave front will be called as the secondary wave front for the primary source. If this is your secondary source, this will be the primary wave front for this source, but this wave front will be considered as the secondary wave front for this primary source. So if I will join all the points on the circumference of small circles like this, then this resultant wave front, the blue color one, the blue color circular curve you just watch, this will be called as your secondary wave front for this primary source. Okay. Likewise, we can consider each and every point of this wave front will be considered as the tertiary sources for this primary source. Okay, so this will be the your tertiary source for this primary source. Okay, so as this will be the source, then from this source also the wavefronts will be propagated in all the directions. So this circle will be called as the primary wavefront of this tertiary source, but this wavefront will be called as your tertiary wavefront of this primary source. Likewise, we can consider forward wavefronts. Okay, so here you just consider, if this is your primary source, this one is your primary wavefront, each and every point on the primary wavefront will be considered as the secondary sources, and this is your secondary wavefront. In this way, the wavefronts will be traveled along all the directions from the primary source.